Welcome to Life Hacks Beyond Convention with Dee and Sonia. Yeah. Where did we catch up? A few years ago, we caught up with Louise. Yeah.
Yeah, that was somewhere in the city.
Yeah.
And I think I just caught the train down then, didn't I?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I know me well
And I
enough to know
can't
it was
remember
true.
where Louise was living, but I ended up saying, come and stay the night in the motel. And yeah. So, yeah. So it was good.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it
Until the
was.
poor restaurant owner wanted us to leave because we talked too long.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
right. He was
And
not.
I like Melbourne, actually.
Yeah.
I love the cafe culture. I
Yeah.
just think it's a beautiful city.
Yes. Yeah.
If I lived in Melbourne, I probably would just get rid of my car, to be honest. I wouldn't need a car, to be
Yeah.
honest, for me,
Yeah.
because I
Yes.
wouldn't drive it.
Yeah.
Though, I guess, well, I suppose I wouldn't get rid of it, but it would be garaged a
Yes.
chunk of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'd only be using it when I wanted to travel further.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't imagine living in the city. So. Yeah.
No, we're a bit different. Like, I never used to be able to, and it took me a really long time to acclimatise to busier
Yeah.
environment.
Yep.
It actually did take quite a while to acclimatise, but once acclimatised, it was just like, I don't know. And then going back to country living,
Yeah.
because I knew exactly, that's one of the benefits that I had, that some people who have always lived in a city, they don't truly understand the difference between city life, city living and country living. So I did know exactly what to expect. I'd lived, most of half my adult life there.
Yep.
But, yeah, I definitely missed the
services.
I think it's services. It's more than that.
It's things like the breadth of menu. Like you have a bigger menu in each individual place in the city, but there's so many more places as well. So, whereas,
yeah. Well, and probably I was only thinking about this yesterday actually when I went out, or it might have been Saturday when I was doing the Ubering. But anyway, when I was out and about, I just was thinking, what is it truly that was the difference that I prefer? And part of it is simply the greenery.
okay,
that it's greener, and that there's just different places to go and sit that are in an environment that I enjoy more.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, so part of it is that. So part of it is actually just a weather thing, not a city versus country thing.
Yeah.
But then part of it is definitely the city. I don't know, it just was really nice when I just suddenly, I thought, oh yeah, I need, what did I do? I can't even remember what it was now. I needed something anyway, and I just popped down to Bunnings and got it.
Yeah.
I just went in and got it. Like, that I liked.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've talked about it before, our supermarket with its 4 aisles ran out of eggs. But then I mentioned it, and then the girl at the counter said, "There's some in my fridge. Let yourself in." At her home, and so we don't have a medical service in our town, so we have to travel either 10 kilometres one way or 20 the other. We have a pharmacy, but it's limited hours, doesn't open weekends. So go to the city and you can find a 24-hour pharmacy and a 24-hour clinic and things like that. So there's a considerable differences between the two. So it's got to be that trade-off, and it's got to be.
There's even a huge difference state-wise, because a country town in Victoria is quite different to a country town in South Australia. And the country people in Victoria don't even appreciate that. So because I came from country South Australia, I truly have a different understanding of what isolation truly is and lack of services. Whereas here in Victoria, I don't know. And it is true that the country towns in Victoria are more isolated, but on the whole, they're still bigger.
Yes, they're larger, yeah.
They're still, So, for example, Horsham, that's usually takes me over 2 hours to get to Horsham. So that would be, say, 2.25 hours from Ballarat, which is then another, hour and a half from Melbourne. So is that 3.5? So at least 3.5 hours from Melbourne. However, when you get to this country town, it's really big. It's got a population of about 30,000.
Oh, wow. That's
which
bigger than Port Pirie.
huge amount bigger than
Yeah.
Port Yeah, and there's a lot of different types of facilities there that South Australian country towns don't have access to. So is there isolation? Is there less facilities? Yes, there is, obviously.
But
It's
not
a
to the
smaller
same
town.
degree.
Yeah. And then even when you start looking at in South Australia, just the distance between places like Port Lincoln and Adelaide,
Oh, wow, yeah.
just so far. Whereas in Victoria, because the state itself, just the square miles of the town is smaller, then it just doesn't take as long to get to Melbourne or to a major place like Ballarat, for example.
And a higher population in Victoria in a much smaller area, which means that the cost of major roads is more manageable. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. That was something that took me probably 10 years to just get used to the way people perceived country living in Victoria. Now I don't think about it so much. I still smile to myself. But I do it on the inside. I can smile on the inside when they just say, country people miss out on so much. I think, well, compared to Melbourne, yes, you're right, you do.
But there's
to Gladstone in South Australia, you don't really understand what isolation means.
And go to the middle of Western Australia, because I lived there for a little while, and if you want a hamburger, you've got a 4-hour drive one way, and sometimes a group of young people will do that.
Well, and that's the thing, like living where I did in South Australia does not prepare you for how isolated it is in places. In the middle of Western Australia. Well, it's a bit like Andamika, wasn't it?
Yes,
I was not prepared for it.
and you change your shopping habits as well. Yes. So you might shop monthly, and you go down and you do a real chockers car full, and you buy stuff that can be frozen, and
Yeah, well, I remember doing that. I used to just once a month go to Adelaide to do the big shop, and then you just get the what's that produce called that goes off quickly? The what produce?
I know what you mean.
It's
fresh.
Not disposable produce.
No.
The fresh produce.
Fresh produce.
The fresh produce that you want.
That's the treat for the first few days of the month, and after that, it's either frozen or stewed or.
Or because I get the tin stuff and the frozen stuff from Melbourne, top up on that, and then it'd just be the more day-to-day stuff that you'd get at the supermarkets in the country. Like your fresh fruit and veg and things like that, you top up in between.
But you're often paying much higher prices too. People don't realise how much. And I don't know that it's a joke, but I used to sometimes think we got the stuff at IGA that Coles had rejected, or had already done its stretch at Coles. And Woolies. That's what it felt like. Now, we've got a most fabulous manager in our shop now, but this is 25 years ago when we came here. I walked into the IGA and they had one of those sort of tray tables, and there were potatoes and onions. There were no veggie fridges, and it was very, very basic. And I went up to this massive freezer. I swear it was 3 or 4 meters long, deep freezer. And I thought, Tony might like a pie. And I picked the pie up, and luckily I did look at it. Out of date for 3 years.
Oh.
Yeah, now this is a long time ago, before our current manager, because she's just, the place is, I think there's fridges around the entire outside of the place now.
I actually didn't mind the Gladstone IGA.
Yeah.
Because there was some things there that I could get there that I couldn't get
Okay. Oh, we, yeah,
Because they don't have an IGA in Port Pirie.
no, they've
It's
got
just the
Coles,
Coles,
Woolies and Aldi.
Woolies and Aldi. But their stock is a little bit different to sometimes the stock that you get in the independent grocers. Yeah.
We tried to support them early on too with ordering things in. But when I ordered I was Powerade for Tony for working, something electrolytes, and it was $8.95 at Coles. And so I thought, oh, well, I'll ask them to order it in, and $14.95.
Yeah.
It's not viable to do that. So we do a lot of shopping here, like you said, on the daily basis. But yeah, we do a big shop every week, couple of weeks at Port Pirie. Yeah. And if we go to Adelaide, sometimes we go to Costco and shop.
Yeah.
Do a biggie.
Yeah, I haven't been to Costco very much, but I don't mind it. Because I've got to drive to Melbourne to get to Costco. I just wait for someone else.
We're back at that city thing.
It's like, well, yeah, we could go if you drive. I'll use the car. I've got the car.
Yeah. A lot of people in the country that have lived here all their lives won't drive or it's not that they can't, it's that they're really nervous to drive in the city and choose not to because they don't have the reaction times. They don't have to have reaction times out here to the same degree. And that's that classic, the roads are wide enough if two cars are passing and they want a conversation, they'll have a conversation and you can go round. And so there's that really relaxed and chilled way of driving compared to having to be really thinking about what you're doing and watching the traffic. And I think traffic's a big thing. People aren't used to cars being that close to them or being that close to other cars. So it's quite a different skill. So I continue to drive to Adelaide because I don't want to lose the skill because there's major services down there that I want to access.
Adelaide's quite easy to navigate like with the new highways and that they've put in, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I must admit, when I have driven in Melbourne, and that was some years ago, I did find it challenging. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't love Melbourne driving.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'll do it if I have to.
Yeah. I don't mind Brisbane and Gold Coast, but I can't tell you why is that. Probably because I'm usually going from airport to airport or, on the major drag. And it's well signposted. That's what I notice in Queensland. The signage is really good, so I can follow it easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think ours is...
I'm trying to think, when I went to Queensland, I guess I didn't really drive very much in Brisbane because I went to Ipswich and then I went down the Gold Coast was okay. I drove a fair bit there and I didn't mind that driving.
Yeah.
But I don't think I drove much in
Brisbane itself.
If at all. Yeah, I can't actually remember driving there.
Yeah.
And I haven't really driven a lot in Sydney other than from the airport. Like I fly into Sydney, grab the rental car and then drive to wherever I needed to go, which was down to like, what's it called? Shallaba. What's that? Wollongong.
Oh, yes.
What's the name that people know? Yeah. For work.
Yeah.
Is where I had to go. So, and that was okay.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't very much traffic. Well, yeah.
We're sort of a bit one way, going one way and one place. You're not having to stop or,
Yeah. And there's two ways out of Sydney to get there. So and this was probably a little bit before, like I didn't have navigation on my phone when I was doing that.
Yep.
And the first trip that I did, I think I went the wrong way.
Oh, right.
But it just meant it was the scenic route though.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then the next time I worked out what I'd done and I made sure I was in the right lane. So I went the right way. So there was a lot of traffic. But there wasn't, I don't know, there wasn't a lot of traffic until you were not in the traffic anymore and you're out on the country roads. So, Yeah, but I don't think I'd like being in Sydney.
Yeah.
I think that would be horrible.
Yeah.
It'd be like Melbourne. I wouldn't like it. I'd rather get on a train. Train and tram. I don't get as excited about buses.
Yeah. Well, I just say 3 lefts make a right. So, or 3 rights make a left. So you just kind of do a loop. And if I've done it with someone in the car, I just say, scenic route.
That's it,
Yeah, so.
yeah.
Hit the subscribe button below if you want to follow life hacks beyond convention.